quick little side project I've been working on just today is this 1/12 vehicle that came from American-made plastic. And I got this a long time ago, and it was like an old racing stock car, and I wanted to use it for shots. I know a couple people in the community have one. I think Boog has one. He's been using it for shots for years. I think High School Creations also has one of these. And I reached out to him a long time ago to see if this was something he'd be able to paint, and he was like, yeah, he was High School Creations, super good dude. And he was like, yeah, that's probably something I could do, but it just kind of, I never followed up, and it just nothing came of it. So I'm giving it a shot here. It had stickers all over it. You can see all there's like sticker residue, and I've been trying to get rid of that. And obviously I'm masking off certain parts of this so I can paint it. I'm gonna try painting it a different color than the color everyone else has. But yeah, this is a cool little vehicle if you can kind of get an idea. That's the Punisher right next to him. And if you do some finagling, you can definitely fit a figure in there. Probably one of the Marvel Legends slim bodies would work best, but you can see how big he is compared to this. So this is definitely in scale. This kind of works out pretty well. So I'm gonna try to paint it the best I can. I'm not really too good at this stuff. I've had some free time recently, so I've been kind of jumping into painting stuff more and more. So, all right, so I am done doing the base coat of paint. This is the color the car is gonna be. So we've made a bit of progress here. I'm slowly working on adding details here, but overall, I'm really happy with how this is turning out so far. The idea behind this is kind of gonna be like a shitty car, basically. I'm gonna add some like rust and other stuff and dings and scratches and stuff like that to the car. So it's gonna be a little beat up. It's a beater. So I can kind of work that into shots and stuff like that. I did want to make a quick correction. This is not called the American-made plastic car. I don't know where I got that from. It's actually called American Plastic Toys Inc. I did a little bit of research before I made this video, and if you go on eBay and look up American Plastic Toys Inc. on eBay, they actually have quite a few cars. They make cars in various scales. It looks like they did a series of stock cars back in the day. And like I said, they come in different scales. So if you make sure you got the right scale, you can actually find something similar to this. Now there's a lot of different variations. Like I mentioned, Boog Nice had one of these cars, but his car is actually a little bit different. I believe the base of the car is exactly the same, but his grille or the front end of the car is completely different than this. So there's a lot of variation when you get the car in. Obviously it's a stock car, it's got stickers, numbers. It still has this roll cage on the inside, which I actually kind of think is cool. And I actually have no idea how to pull it off. Well, I have kind of an idea of how to pull it off. I think that they're connected right here, but I'm not even gonna attempt to do that, because if you cut the inside and try to pull that out, it's just gonna be a giant mess. For what I'm using it for, just for quick displays, depending on the angle of the shot, I think it'll work out, and I'm not really too worried about that. I'm actually not really too worried about how I'm painting this thing right now. As you can see, I'm doing some painting. I got the little details like the headlights and the chrome grille, and then obviously I'll work my way to the back and do some brake lights or something like that. And obviously I have handles on here. Another cool thing is I use some tape, and I just drew in the door lines. I just, it just looked weird without it not having a door there. So, just like subtle changes that add a little bit more dimension to the car itself. But overall, it's going to be a beater. Alright, we have finished dirtying up the car, and I'm pretty proud of myself, man. I'm not really too used to doing this type of thing, like I've already mentioned 15 times in this video, but I'm pretty happy how this overall came out. So let's take a look over the car repainted now. As you can see, I redid the grille and the headlights. Basically all I did was just paint them. The headlights I painted white, grille I painted silver. It ended up working out. I was going to paint the bumper, but I ended up leaving that alone because it already had like a bunch of scratches and everything on it. And once I had painted the grille and the headlights, I was like, you know what? I'm going to save myself some time and not do that. And I think it still looks pretty dope. We can take a look at the hood here. We can see some inconsistencies, some silver paint chipping, some rust built up in a lot of the corners of the vehicle. You know, I wanted to make it look beat up, but not like too beat up, like still drivable, but definitely gonna get pulled over by the cops if they see you in it, which I think I accomplished here. This is, I believe, based off of a late 70s Monte Carlo, like a 79 Monte Carlo, maybe an 80 Monte Carlo. I looked more into American Plastic Toys Inc., and this is actually a Richard Petty car, stock car. So I believe Richard Petty was a big stock car racer, maybe he was a NASCAR racer. I don't know, I don't really follow any of the racing stuff, but I definitely recognize the name Richard Petty. So if you're out there and you're a huge Richard Petty fan, don't hurt me, please. Okay, some more we've got some inconsistencies on the roof, on the corners right here, wheel wells. You know, I looked up reference photos, and this is definitely where some, like, you know, rust would show up on an actual car. I put this like little blotch, like, I don't know, someone maybe tagged their vehicle or something. And then I think the part that I'm most impressed with myself about is this back end. I used painter's tape just to tape off some squares, and I just painted red in between them. Looked up more reference photos for a Monte Carlo taillights, and I think this is pretty close to what they actually have on the rear end. And, you know, some more inconsistencies. If I can show you guys a little bit closer if the light will permit. More rust. And then I just printed out a black California license plate because I only have black and white ink on my printer at the moment. And I just glue sticked it to the back there. And this was literally like the only funny license plate I could find in black and white. And it was Too Sexy For You. And I think it works, man. A guy driving around in this car would think he was too sexy for you, so. Alright, and then we got this side, and you know, I don't know if you guys noticed, but or maybe I talked about it earlier, but I painted on the door handles, and I think they came out pretty good, man. And it was just another dimension to this car that I wanted to add, instead of it just not having any, you know, doors or handles or anything like that. I think it definitely looks good. I think it's subtle enough that it gets the point across, and you're like, that's a door handle, but you're not going to spend too much time on, you know, looking at the door handle. Last thing I'll probably talk about is getting the figure in the car. So obviously they fit, so that's like half the battle right there, is wondering whether or not the figure will fit inside the vehicle. It does. You got to have them leaning out the window, otherwise, if I can kind of show you, this is, I mean, you got to kind of struggle with this a little bit, but once you have him in the car, that roll bar kind of covers his face, which is kind of a bummer. But, you know, if I'm building my shots and taking certain angles, maybe if I shoot lower than I normally would, I'll be able to see the head in there, or maybe I'll have him popping out of a window, or maybe it's a funny scene, maybe the car is just a background prop. You never know with the shot. It can be any number of things, so you got to play to the advantages and the disadvantages of whatever prop you're using. So with this prop, you know, avoid this window, I guess, or have him propped up out of the window in order to have him look better out there. So yeah, man, overall I'm pretty impressed with myself over doing this. This is something I've been wanting to do for a long time, and I finally just got around to you know, painting this thing. And you know, I've been looking up a lot of videos and everything, and I just think this back end looks so cool. And $40, dude. So you put a little bit of elbow grease in there, and boom, you got yourself a pretty good looking car. And not just a good looking car for 6-inch figures in the 1/12 scale, which are super hard to come by, but Also, a pretty good little prop that you can use for all kinds of scenes. And that's the name of the game for me, man. As far as ACBA and toy photography, it's like building up props, building up dioramas, building up all that stuff. So anyways, thanks for watching this. I didn't necessarily put this car into a shot for you guys, but you get the idea. I'm sure I'll come up with something one of these days where this will come in handy. And yeah, if that Ghost Rider gets funded, I'm sure it would look mighty good next to this guy. Maybe he's doing the pit maneuver on him and flipping this car over. That's probably kind of what got me off my ass to actually paint this car, was the whole Ghost Rider debacle that's been going on YouTube with, everyone pissed off about the price and everything. And yeah, it got me thinking. I was just like, you know what? I got this 112 car and it's just been sitting there. It's time to do something with it. So yeah, pretty cool. Thanks for watching, guys. Really appreciate it. Make sure to like, subscribe, all that shit, and I will catch you guys next time. Peace.
That's crisp.